Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to take a look at 3 different types of plein air painting setups. It's summer, it's a time we all want to get outside and paint, at least in this part of the world, and they all have their own pros and cons. We're going to look at a French easel, a Poschade box, and a watercolor field easel. We're going to time them, see how long it takes to set them up. We're going to weigh them, see how heavy they are, and we'll discuss the pros and cons of each. So hopefully you can decide what type of plein air setup might be right for you. I'm using products by the company Meeden. They offer affordable easels, studio furniture, and art supplies. I really like their studio furniture, and I really like their 100% cotton watercolor paper. And they actually sent me these easels to review, and they're going to be allowing me to give away some of the cotton watercolor paper. I will have the information in the video description on how you can sign up for that giveaway. But most importantly, I just want you to see kind of the basic plein air easels setups that are available, whether you buy from Meeden or some other company or secondhand. You'll kind of see the pros and cons of each, and hopefully it'll help you decide what might be right for you, if any of these are right for you. Now, I generally will paint with watercolor. Probably I would say about 80% of the time I go out to plein air, I'm using watercolor, and I have a backpack with a stool on it. It's like a fishing backpack. It's nothing fancy, and I usually sit with my sketchbook in my lap. And I find that's just so easy. Or I even have just like a little fanny pack with a sketchbook and some paints in it, and that works really well for me. But if you like to stand when you paint, or if I'm going to be painting all day or using a different medium, it is handy to have something a little bit more substantial to work with. So without further ado, let's get on to the comparison portion of this video. And if you have any questions as we're going along, please feel free to drop a comment, and I will try to help you with any questions you might have. I've tried other brands, I've tried other setups, so and I do have other videos like that on my channel, so please feel free to check out some of those videos if you want more options for your plein air painting journeys this summer. So without further ado, let's start setting these up and see what we're working with. First up, we have the classic French easel. Now this is what I typically will work with. This is a brand new one. I have one, I think it's a little bit bigger than this one actually, and my main complaint is that it's heavy. But let's weigh this one and see what we're working with. I've got my luggage scale here. It is set to, I'm going to set it to 0 here, and we're going to take a look and see what we've got. I'm going to hook it on the strap. And to weigh something with a luggage easel, you just lift it up and hold it for about 10 seconds. And that weighs about 13 pounds, so not too bad. But when you have it loaded up with paint, it's going to be a lot heavier, so keep that in mind. This is just the easel with nothing on it. Okay, so to set this up, it's pretty easy. All right, we are going to set the timer and see how long it takes for us to set this easel up. And here we go. The setup on a French easel is pretty straightforward. Starting with the back leg, just undo the little nuts and pull out the legs and then tighten them up. And then for the side legs, you're going to do the same thing. They're held in by little clips on the side. You pull that out, and then you tighten up the kind of the top of the leg there. It's going to set into a little notch that's carved into the side. Extend the legs as long as you want them, and then you just flip the whole thing upright when you are ready. And all in all, it took me about 3 minutes to get this all set up. Next up is the Poschade Box. Now the Poschade Box has the benefit of it being in 2 pieces. This one came with a bag to keep the wooden part of the box in, or maybe you could carry accessories with it. And then you have a bag with the easel. So you can carry one in one hand, one in the other, to distribute the weight a little bit better than and you can't do that with the French easel. You can also use a tripod for other things. So if you're not only a painter and you want to use it for photography, you can use that the easel for other things like that. I've zeroed out my luggage scale again, and we're going to give this a nice weigh and see what we're working with as far as weight. And this is coming in at about 13 pounds, so about the same as the French easel. It's just in 2 parts, so you can divide it up, divide out the weight. Something to know is that Poschade boxes generally are sold separately, so if you already have a heavy-duty easel, you just buy the box. You can get this kit together. It's pretty affordable, but I also find it to be a little flimsy, and because I haven't used many Poschade boxes, I don't really know if that's an issue with this particular one or with them in general. But for my money, for my time, I find this to be a little friggy and bothersome to set up. This took about 3.5 minutes. So still about the same time as the French easel, but I find it a little bit more, I don't know, flimsy and wobbly. But your mileage may vary. Our last and lightest option is a watercolor field easel, and this I've just, because it's kind of in 3 parts, I just have it in this little bag. The bag doesn't really weigh anything, and we're just going to see how much this weighs. This is really easy to throw into an art bag and bring to class. And the reason I mentioned bringing it to class is because I think actually the best use of this easel is going to be indoors, and you'll see why. So this doesn't even register, maybe as like, it's maybe registering 1.5 pounds. That's how light this is. It's very, very light. Similar to the Poschade Box, with this easel, you are going to extend your tripod first, and then you are going to remove the little clip from the tripod, and that, just save that in case you ever want to put a camera or anything lightweight onto it. But it's certainly not durable enough to hold anything more than 11 pounds, according to the website, and I think even that's a stretch. So once you remove the little plate, you'll be able to hook the white piece that you can tape your paper onto, or they can hold a block. That's going to latch right into that, just like a camera tripod would. And then you are going to extend up that platform, and then the tray that holds your painting supplies, it's simply going to rest. The center of the tray is kind of hinged, and the center of the hinged area will hook to the center part of the tripod. See that in the middle? And then you'll just rest the top part over the legs, and that's that. So let's talk about the pros and cons of each of these easels behind me. First of all 3 of them can be used for right or left-handed painters, so you don't have to worry about buying a specific easel for your needs. Ease of setup, I'm going to give to the French easel. Everything you need is right there. You can store all your supplies in it, and it's sturdy and ready to go. You can independently raise and lower each of the legs so that you can work on uneven ground, and it's nice and hefty, so it's unlikely it's going to get blown over in the wind. If it is going to be blown over in the wind, it would be easy enough to put a sandbag on the back side of the easel to keep it nice and secure, or even put your bag of other supplies or your backpack or purse or whatever on it to keep it anchored down. It's sturdy, and there's a reason French easels have been around for hundreds of years. They just work, and they're reliable. Our next wooden option is the Poschade Box. Now, I'm not a natural Poschade Box painter. I've been using a French easel for, I don't know, since the 90s. It's always been very convenient for me. It was my first easel I had in my apartment because of the space saving and the mobile nature of it. Poschade boxes I find to be a little friggy because instead of having everything in one box ready to go, you've got 2 boxes to contend with. You've got the box with your supplies and your panels and whatnot. Then you've got a separate tripod, which if they're not fitting together just right, and you're outside and you're frustrated and you're hot and you're sweaty and it's windy and you have all those environmental effects when you're out there plein air painting, that's just a point where something can go wrong. It's a point where something can get annoying. The bonus of it, you can keep all your supplies in your Poschade box just like you can with a French easel. You can carry the easel, the box, and the tripod separately to disperse the weight out a little bit more, so you're not carrying everything on one shoulder or one arm. So that's nice. And I think it kind of goes down to what you like best. Like with a French easel, your painting is actually on the front of the easel. On the Poschade box, your painting is on the back of the Poschade box, so you've got to reach over. But when I'm working at the French easel, I generally have the drawer pulled out to hold my easel, my palette anyway. But if you like to hold your palette in your arm and you like to be able to get closer to your painting, the French easel is going to be a better fit. I'm probably biased. I prefer a French easel myself, but it does feel a lot lighter. The Poschade box feels a lot lighter, even though it isn't, because I can disperse the weight across both arms or both shoulders with the shoulder bag. Now, the option that I'm not a real big fan of for plein air painting is this one right behind me, the watercolor field easel. I think it's wonderful in classes. In fact, I'll take that when I'm teaching a class so that I have an area to set my stuff. I can be in the middle of all my students, even if there's not a lot of space. I can be like, put my tables in like a U or a square, and I can be in the center, and I can swivel it around so everyone can see. And I could see a classroom full of those taking up a lot less space than a classroom full of tables, and you have the option of working flat. That's another thing. If you're a watercolor painter, it's going to be, you can fold that back, you can fold that flat to work flat. It's really easy with the Poschade box to fold it back to work at any angle you want, but this is really designed for watercolor and meant for that. So I think probably for a watercolor painter that has an advantage. I think also as a watercolor painter, if you're only doing watercolor, your stuff is probably not going to fit. I mean, it'll fit, but it's a lot of wasted space, I feel like, with the 2 wooden versions, and there's all that excess weight that you have to carry for that. And we're not talking even about bringing a chair. But for this, it's very lightweight, easy to throw in a bag, doesn't take up a lot of space, and if you're going to a class somewhere, I think it's a good option. Like I said, I like to use that for teaching. Now, one other thing I wanted to share that was a benefit of those two easels, especially the French easel, not so much of this, is the addition to be able to add an umbrella to your workspace. So let me go get my clamp-on umbrella and see how they work on these 3 different setups. I recently picked up this clip-on umbrella on Amazon for plein air purposes, and let's give it a quick weigh. We'll see what we're dealing with for weight. It's about, it's looking like about 3.5, 4 pounds. So that would add to your stash, to your weight. In addition to this art supplies, keep in mind we did not weigh art supplies with any of this, so that's going to add to the weight of your setup. The easiest easel to hook the umbrella to was the French easel, and I just clipped it onto the wooden side of the back of the easel. It worked great. For the lightweight easel, surprisingly, this held on pretty securely on the thicker part of the tripod. Now, this is designed to clip to a beach chair or a stroller, so I guess I shouldn't have been too surprised that it hooked to this so well. Keep in mind that this is yet another wind-catching instrument, so if you are working outside, which is probably why you'd need an umbrella, you are going to have problems if you end up getting a big gust of wind. But I was able to clip it snugly and securely, so if you are in a wind-free area, I think you would be just fine with this setup. I had the most difficulty hooking the umbrella to the Poschade box. The Poschade box, on a good day, still feels a little bit flimsy to me. Like I said, I've only used a medium Poschade box, so it could be an issue with that tripod or that box, but I think there's just too many moving parts, honestly, and adding the umbrella to it made it quite wobbly, and you'll see that here in just a moment. Also, the only good place I had to hook the umbrella was on the side of it, and I had to move the little brush rest over to the edge of the little sliding drawer that I use as a palette. So I didn't think that was ideal. There you have it. We've got 3 different options there of plein air easels. And it's really going to depend on what you like best, honestly. I would read reviews on any easel you're planning on purchasing because, you know, there's a lot of companies that are coming out with these, and the prices can range wildly. I know when I got mine back in the 90s, I think my easel was around $150, and I'm thinking that Meeden one nowadays costs that much, and that's 30 years later. So your prices are going to range, and quality can range. So just kind of keep that in mind. One thing I've noticed that when I do get a more budget piece of equipment, sometimes you just need to put a little more elbow grease into getting it sturdy and where you want it. So that's something to consider. I have been using the Meeden, like the pastel drawers and different studio products, and I've had really good luck with them. But, you know, just keep that in mind as you're shopping. Look at reviews and, you know, talk to people that use these on the reg and see what they like. For me, it's French easel. If I'm going to be painting with oils or pastels, I take a French easel. My other one that I'm used to, that I've had for a long time, is heavier than that, and I think it's a little bit bigger as well, but you may prefer something different. So I hope you found this useful. I love painting outdoors in the summer, and I love trying out different setups. So there are 3 popular options, and hopefully one of those is right for you, or maybe you'll watch this and you'll know, no, I don't really like that. I just want to put my stuff in a fanny pack and go to the local park and sit on a bench, and I'm happy with that. And that is totally fine too. So it's just information. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to sign up for the giveaway. There's a link in the video description to my Instagram page. That's where I will be collecting the sign-ups for that. And good luck. Good luck to everyone that enters. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoy comparison videos like this. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye.